in this episode of Legends of Storm's Eye.
You really like fighting someone who's weaker than you, don't you?
Sacred flame!
What? Why are you?
It's just a warning.
This infinite broken telephone makes complete sense.
So have we fulfilled the prophecy, or do we need to smite anyone first?
So Iggy,
A wizard!
Oh, done.
welcome to Zarnia for Games and Geekery. This is Legends of Storm's Eye, our actual play D&D podcast. Show, not a podcast. Not yet a podcast.
And a podcast.
Ooh. I mean, you say that, but that's not, I mean, it will be, probably. By the time you're watching this, yeah. Anyhow, I want to take this again because Mikal messed that up. It was a Mikal.
How are they going to be watching it if it's a podcast? If it's a podcast, how are they going to be watching it?
Yeah, that's another one important point. Welcome to Zarnia for Games and Geekery. This is Adventures of Storm's Eye, our actual play D&D show. Give me a whoop.
Woo! Woo!
Nice.
Adventures of Storm's Eye?
Adventures?
Adventures?
Dang it! Welcome to Zarnia for Games and Geekery. This is Legends of Storm's Eye, our actual play D&D show.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
We are one short again on our adventure. Unfortunately, Natalie cannot be here with us again, so
Classic!
we're going to continue the campaign without
Who's
her
Natalie?
for a while. Who's Nat? Rude. After all she's done for Legacy's character and making him more human and likable.
Yeah, that's failed.
Guess he's backsliding.
Okay, so I guess maybe it is time to move on. Oh, I don't know.
We love you, Natalie.
We love you,
but
Natalie.
Not that much.
We love you. And we also love our new patrons. Excellent. Patreon.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
It is growing slowly.
Now we can afford coffee.
Patreon.
Patreon.
Yeah,
What is the
Patreon.
plural Patreon?
Patreon.
Patrons.
I think you're thinking of Patronus. No, yeah. No, it's fake Latin. Anyway, so what happened in our previous episode? Well, after descending into the fourth temple, the team confronted Moontree, who was busy performing some kind of strange, arcane, and probably very evil ritual. Iggy intervened, trying to convince his friend that there was still good in him. However, Moontree rebuffed Iggy's attempts and told him that he had never liked him, had never been his friend, and that he smells. I'm pretty sure that was included in there, but yeah.
Contextually, it's definitely.
Contextually, yeah. After Moontree was defeated, they... Oh, sorry. I was like trying to think for a moment what happened. And after Moontree was defeated, Iggy's mother, in the spirit of a dog, turned into a large, ravening hell beast, speaking with the voice of Yugoriel. Yugoriel had corrupted the ritual and been ready with a spy in their midst to lead them to whatever dark and twisted plan he had. However, they were able to defeat the Hellhound, but bloodied and battered, they decided to descend into the endless maze and walk the path not taken. So, where we left off, each of you had decided to walk down into the little obsidian box, descending down the staircase. Iggy and Thrastock were going together down there. All of you, as you step down the staircase, as your footsteps echo down this passage of hard angles, you can see yourselves reflected in the black stone on either side of the narrow passage. Quickly, that becomes the only sound you can hear. You can't hear any of your friends ahead of you. You can't even hear Iggy and Thrastock. You can't even hear each other. And you look around, and all you see are your own reflections on either side of you. You're all alone and separate in this as you walk down the stairways. If you look back, there's no light above you. Just stairs seeming to disappear into the darkness. Even those of you with dark vision can't pierce. after what feels like a few minutes, you come to the bottom of the stairs and step into a hallway. It is an octagonal hallway, 4 hard sides of polished black stone that perfectly reflect you, or rather they perfectly reflect what you might be. As you look around, you can see different versions of yourself. We're going to start with Glenda. Glenda, you look at these 8 reflections of yourself staring back at you. There is a version of you that just looks like a woman who has led a good, full life. You can see laugh lines creasing the corners of her eyes. You can see a scarf wrapped around her neck and her hands. Even with arthritis, still just echoing the knitting that she has spent her life doing. You see another one, a hard woman, all angles and cheekbones, her skin wrinkled and wizened from age and the sun of a life on the road. And as you look around, every time you look back, things change. But one catches your attention. Would you describe what this reflection is?
Well, it is me. And I look not happy per se, but incredibly kind of contented and dignified. I also look like a frickin' babe. I don't know what happened in this life, but I look good. All the other reflections, like, I look aged. My lips have like thinned to like that really aged thin lip look with like the like white on the sides. I've got like these full lips, plump cheeks. I still definitely look like I am of age, but my posture, I'm just so upright. I've got biceps. I look good.
The more you look, the rest seem to fade away. The reflections kind of dimming, stepping back almost, and the brighter and more defined this one in front of you gets, until the stone facets kind of start folding, bending, clicking, and that panel becomes a tunnel.
I walk into it.
Great.
As opposed to...
All right.
Not walking down the street.
Next up, we have Legacy. As you come into the tunnel, you look around and you see 8 versions of yourself. You know, you see a version that is just. He looks nervous, he looks shaking, he's balding for some reason, even though he still looks like he's 30. You look to the next one and you see someone with the like wings of white in their hair, you know, with like the dignified, upright bearing of a judge, you know, and just like a glimmer of arrogance and cruelty at the corner of the eyes. But one of these 8 catches your eye. What is it?
There's one that is well dressed, but in not very expensive clothes. Clearly, he's wearing, you know, a cloak and clothing that's been well cared for, but there's patches on them. He has several weapons on his person. You know, a sword connected to his back. He looks hard. Mm-hmm. He looks tough. But there's a glint of wisdom and love in his eyes.
Eye.
In his eye.
One eye
because he has
is covered by a patch.
By a patch.
And a scar tracing down the cheek.
He's clearly been through some adventures, but he's not resentful. He's not filled with hate. He's filled with he emanates a sense of worldly wisdom.
And as you are drawn to this,
Yeah.
the panels start folding, the rest fades away, and you have a tunnel ahead of you.
Sure. I look back and I walk down the tunnel.
All right. Makanda, you step down. You see your 8 versions around you. You see one. It looks a lot like your son looked. Beautiful, sexy, little vampire fangs in the corner of your mouths. Yeah. And then you see the other versions. You see the version of someone who never became a librarian, but who instead chose to live a life out in the sticks on the very periphery of Radriz, away from the eye of Orogoth. A humble farmer, but joy creasing his eyes. What image are you drawn to of the 8?
Well, he looks much like Makanda, looks much like myself, dressed very similarly, but he seems to have aged better. So the creases from stress, being out and about in the sun, all the travels that he's been doing in recent times, and the way that wears a person down, that's not there anymore. And a few less grays in his hair. Same guy, just looks a little younger, little happier, a little less stressed.
All right. The panels fold out and you step through. All right. When Iggy steps down into this room with the 8 sides, immediately his eye is drawn to one on the left. He's struck by it because, sorry, on the right. Okay.
I'll
just mirror the feed. Mirror the feed.
Our left.
Yeah, your left. All right. Immediately his eye is drawn to a figure on the left. It is him, but the thing that caught his eye is that he's shaved. His beard is gone, and his hair looks like it's been dyed a greasy black. His face is smudged with charcoal. His body is robed in dark leathers and black silks, and some kind of strange necklace looped around and around his neck, which, as Iggy looks closer, is blackened ears just threaded on some kind of string, just looped around his neck. And as he looks around, he sees another one that looks like a prosperous dwarf merchant. His hands stained with ink as you realize, no, that's a scribe. In the typical dwarf scribe fashion, the beard bundled into one rope and tied back over the shoulder to keep it out of the ink. But something grabs your eye. What is it?
He looks over at the scribe and sees the mess that he has made of all the books and everything around him. He looks at the blackened ears and is like, oof. That's some bad choices on my part. And then he looks around and sees a version of himself where he's even larger than he was before, but he's wearing the regalia of someone who has traveled into innumerable places. It's like he's wearing the souvenirs and the capes and the cloaks and the colors of multiple cultures. His face is smiling, he is wearing ribbons in his beard and his hair, but there's a certain power, an aura of power radiating from him. And as he walks through this ethereal world, he is followed by a quill and a book floating behind him that writes down everything he says and does. It is an Iggy that has lived the life he writes about. And he wants to read. He's living the life that he wants to read about if someone else reads his life. And that's the story.
Mm. And like the pages of the book, the panel folds away, revealing a passage.
Iggy thinks carefully for a moment. I think carefully for a moment.
You hear a tapping behind you.
Hello?
You look and you see the Iggy with the strings and strings of
Ears.
ears around his neck, staring at you.
And I look back at the beribboned, happy Iggy with no longer pale, pallid skin, but a healthy tan and a big smile, and I walk through that one.
All right. And now Thrastok. As your boots echo on the hard stone, you come down into the room and you see the ground ahead of you covered in shards of broken stone. And standing in the middle is you. Ah, good to see you. I'm glad that you are here at a timeless fashion.
Well, yes, it's important to be on time. How are you?
Yes, is it not written in the book of Aster that punctuality is respect one shows oneself and others?
Of course.
Of
Indeed
course.
it is.
Of course. All right, we've got a lot to talk about before the others are done. Let's go.
Right.
And he leads you down a passageway that has been shattered open.
Right. There's only ever been one version.
Yeah. The important thing to know is that time works somewhat differently here.
Yes?
Yes. And we have revealed, so I think what's happening is that I am going to tell you what you are going to tell me when you arrive in just a minute, and then one of us will leave. But
Okay.
it'll be the same person because it'll just be a loop.
Good.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Now, what are you going to tell me?
Well, you see, let me see if I can put this in the same way that it was delivered to me before. Basically, we are a vessel of Aster to wreak his vengeance upon the greatest sin that has been occurred in our world. And that's why we were, in fact, chosen and brought to Storm's Eye.
Sounds right.
Yes, justice will be pursued even beyond the dimensions of our own world. Such is the
Fantastic.
power of Aster's vengeance. All right, and we're going to cut over to...
I
To
love
Glenda.
that.
You're just like, yeah, of course. this infinite broken telephone makes complete sense.
That bit about justice being pursued makes perfect sense.
It's
to me.
completely infinite dimensions, all good.
Yeah, perfectly. Okay, Glenda, you walk in on a scene where a monk, robed, head shaved, is in your valley, the place where you remember being brought up. And you can recognize that this is Upsha. And she puts you down on the doorstep of what looks like one of the dwarven churches there. And as she turns to go, the baby, you feel the urge that the baby has to cry out and begin calling for her mother. But you also feel that you can still that voice, or you can cry out and see what happens.
There is still the part of me that worries that if I were to change the course of my life now, that my children, Belintha and Brandith, would therefore not ever be born. And as much as I have not had the nicest life in the world, I do sincerely love my children, and I'm worried I'm going to still the cry.
Upsha looks back for a moment and sees the baby sleeping peacefully. For a moment, she kisses her fingers, touches the head of the baby, and then quietly moves away. The scene kind of melts as a doorway opens in the middle of nothingness, and you step forward to the next choice that you must make. Legacy. You step into a fighting yard. You are being trained by the hefty man-at-arms in the employ of your father. You're but a young'un, 10-year-old, hired gromar near to you, slightly older, but sullen and also a little bit scared. He's taken to the fighting a lot better than you have. He, in fact, was trained a little earlier, before he was taken from his home at Dalakos in that court. The two of you are sparring back and forth. He bats the sword away from young Legacy and pow! Raps you on the knuckles. You drop the sword. Tears begin to fill young Legacy's eyes. You remember that in this moment you ran from the yard. Do you want to make that same choice?
No. This time I pick up the sword with my other hand, and I say to Hyde, you really like fighting someone who's weaker than you, don't you?
You see a moment in Hyde's eyes as he realized, yeah, he does. Huh. But that flicker passes as the man-at-arms claps you on the shoulder and says,
You don't give up without a fight. I like the fighting spirit in this one. Good job, lad. You'll go far. Remember, it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
all right. And you see a doorway open towards your next choice. Makanda. Yours is a little bit later. It is one of your first days being apprenticed to the librarians. Being apprenticed to the librarians in the Spindle, the Tower of Sorrows, Lord Orogoth's employ. You are given a book and told, take this to the Lord Orogoth, by the head librarian of the time. It's got a dusty sort of a cover. You don't really think anything of it, but you, in your present sense, know that this was a cruel joke that the head librarian played on you, that the book was in fact insulting to the Lord Orogoth, or just mundane, and fortunately for you, you were not killed outright, but rather, given a severe beating. So, knowing that you must obey the Hyde Librarian and take this book somewhere to Lord Orogoth, what are you going to do?
Is this happening to me, or am I watching it?
You're watching it, but you feel that you can change the course of it. So it's like you're out of the body, but you maintain all your knowledge and everything, watching the scene, but also you, with your will, you change the choices that person in the scene makes.
Interesting. And in the past, I took the book to Lord Orogoth.
And got beaten.
I think he's going to allow it to happen. No.
Yeah? No, this
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let it happen. I'm gonna let it happen. I mean, yeah, I went through I suffered much in my life. Suffering that I experienced made me who I am.
Yeah. So after standing over the weeping and trembling younger Makanda, having been beaten by one of the servants of the Lord Orogoth, a door opens and you step through it. Iggy, there was one day when you were younger and inspired by the adventures, and you really wanted to go and live a life of adventure and such, that you stood on the docks looking at the little dinghy boat that you were considering stealing. In your memory, you turned back. Would you make the same choice now?
Has my mother left me at this point?
Yeah.
I get on that dinghy and I dinghy off over the horizon.
And now you notice that there is a storm brewing as you go, as you start dinghying across. All right. Back to Thrastock. So you see, what happened is that we are here to avenge goblins.
Yes.
Yes. Yogoriel stole their souls, and that was the greatest crime that has been committed in our world. It has led to generations of soulless goblins condemned to evil and violent lives that have rippled out across our entire world. The Goblin Wars, all of that, stemming from Yogoriel's theft of their soul.
I see. I'm writing this down.
Yes, I wrote it down too.
That would make sense. We would make consistent decisions.
Yes. Now, all right. Here is one of the things. You know, Makanda's got that prophecy.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's not his prophecy. That's for us.
That's our prophecy.
That's our prophecy.
I thought it was his prophecy.
Well, he thinks it's his prophecy too.
Can you remind me how it goes?
Yes, I can.
As you have been reminded previously.
Yes, it's in a loop. The curse of blood is eternal, unbreakable by forge. You see, the blood magic passes down the soul curse of Yogoriel's theft.
I see.
Beyond infinite knowledge, the tomb dreams no answer, and the garden bears no fruit. And to end the curse eternal, you must walk the path not taken in the maze outside the storm.
Ah, I see. And I'm walking the maze right now.
Yes.
So have we fulfilled the prophecy, or do we need to smite anyone first?
There will come smiting. Mostly, we need to smite Yogoriel.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm down for that.
So, apparently, no one can escape the storm, but we came here.
Okay.
Yeah, we pierced the storm. That is what Yogoriel is up to with his torment engine. He is trying to pierce the storm.
All right.
Fortunately, these islands came from our world. That gives them a certain amount of power to cross that barrier. The only way to save our world from the invasion of Yogoriel, the goblins united under a single commander, would be a terrible, terrible apocalypse. We must slay him.
Excellent. Will smiting him restore the goblin souls, or is that just a lost cause and you have to smite them all?
Unfortunately, it will not restore the souls that have been taken.
Okay.
And those that have died and have been lost, they will be probably released to an afterlife, for that kind of redemption. But no, those born without souls, unfortunately, irredeemable.
That's terrible. We
Yeah.
have to smite the head of the snake first, then, and smite the rest of the snake.
Yes. For there is only mercy in swiftness of justice.
Of course.
Yes, of
Anything
course.
less is no mercy at all.
Yes. All right. Good.
Right. How's the longsword holding up, by the way? Still in good shape?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
It's only really been 5 minutes. We've got about another 5 minutes of this conversation. Then I'm going to leave, and you'll explain what I've just told you to you when you come in.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Not a problem.
And then you leave, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, it's Asta's will, so therefore,
It
that's
will
how it
happen.
goes. Yeah.
As Asta's will, so let it be.
Yes, we have not been tricked by this place. Yeah.
Yes,
We're an instrument of Asta.
I'm slightly worried about my companions, but hopefully they will make the right choices. And if they do not, well, there are plenty smiting to go around.
Definitely.
The best conversation.
I love it.
The amount of times he's about to
Sheldon
say,
and Sheldon.
yes, 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 correct.
All right. Glenda.
I am ready. I am ready. I am. Fine.
All right. Glenda, this was late into your marriage.
Okay.
You know, Gwyneth and Belindith. What are your kids' names?
Brandith and Belintha.
Brandith and Belindith.
Belintha.
Belintha. And Belintha.
Brandith
and Belintha have, they've moved off on their lives. Brandith going to do
Oh, do I not have the option to leave them when they're young kids?
Oh. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's where you want to leave them.
Damn.
Well, now that I know that that's when my mother left me and I turned out fine, let me just start off my monking earlier.
So you walk into this vision and go, no, this is too soon. You turn around and go out into another, take another turn. It is a maze after all. And you find...
I want to get to a point where I discover I'm a monk, not because I discover I'm a human, not because I've aged so dramatically that my husband is repulsed by me, but rather because I feel like I am a monk and that it would be better for my children who identify as dwarves to just be raised dwarves without what they've always viewed as their weak, pathetic mother.
Man, this is some self-esteem stuff going on here.
Yeah, well, that's why that's why my whole thing is just how wonderful it is to exist as a fully fledged human being that can make love to whoever and people don't treat as a... I'm just a horny drunk. Like,
you walk in on yourself preparing a dinner. It's a wonderful dinner. The kids are with their grandparents. You know, you've got the night to reignite the fire because you've seen the passion waning in Damien's. You know, in his eyes. You've seen the way he's looked at other dwarves and their beards. You know that you dust off the lingerie and the silken merkin for your face, the facial merkin, face beard merkin.
Birkin.
Yeah, and you've got the sherry on the table and the dinner cooking. What do you want to do? You hear Damien's footsteps in the tunnel outside.
Pause. I'm gonna get the food. You guys carry on.
We'll wait for you.
No, not here.
Well, we'll wait for you to stop stomping around like a ox.
Stomp around.
Okay, I hear him coming in and I realize I haven't lit some of the candles on the far side of the room. So as I quickly sprint over to, with a lit candle to go light the other one before it enters the room so that the scene is just right, I trip, flip in the air, do a double somersault, catch the candle with my hand. I hit the side wall with my elbow and an old vase came tumbling down and I catch it with my foot. And I think to myself, why does this always happen when no one's around? Why is it that when I am alone and without my family, am I capable of this incredible feats of dexterity? And it is in this position that Damien enters the room and I'm just holding things in this weird position. And his face is just one of...
What a weirdo. And as he's just staring at you in confusion and he sees the candles and the dinner and he sees the merkin on the side and he looks more and more kind of disappointed. Your eye falls on the vase, and sticking out of it are the knitting needles that you were left with, the needle that you were left with by Upsha. Reminding you of what you could be, reminding you of the potential of what your life, the mystery of your birth here. What do you want to do?
Yes, because I don't know that it's Upshur. I guess I see the runes on the side that I don't understand, and I decide that it's too weird, it's too fortuitous that this is what has landed in my hand now at this point in time. I decide that I'm going to go speak to my adopted parents, I've always known I'm adopted, but in my mind it's always been dwarves. The tale was just dwarves from another hilltop that were not good parents, so I've never questioned my dwarven heritage, but I decide there's something more to this, and I'm gonna my spider senses are tingling, and I'm gonna find out what it is.
Demon is like, honey, don't go. In your head, you already know he's been cheating.
Oh, he was in fact cheating. That wasn't just the dream that Upshur put in my head.
Oh no,
That was legit.
maybe.
With the mine secretary.
I thought it was, yeah. With the
Charmaine,
mine
what's her
secretary,
name?
yeah.
Charlemagne.
Charlemagne, yeah.
Charmaine.
Charmaine, the
Charmaine.
mine secretary. Yeah. It's been going on for a while. It's probably still just like, like a little kerfuffle in the corner this time. It's not full on.
And the kids actually love her.
Her name's Charmaine.
Charmaine.
Yeah, it was something like along those lines.
She sounds like she sells real estate in Seapoint.
Well,
Maybe she'll do that after being
She
sick.
does now.
she sells real estate between her legs is what she does.
Whoa! Damn.
Damn, okay, wow. Edit that out, man, cut that.
That was rough.
Keeping it in.
But you know what? If you're gonna cheat on, if you're gonna take another woman's man,
Another woman's dwarf.
that was dope. Yeah, but
Another woman's store.
You know what? We shouldn't shame her. If anyone's to blame, it is Damianth.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, society locking everyone into, like loveless roles, and not being able to like grow past them, and evolve.
wow, deep.
That's not what Thrastuk thinks.
Anyway, we should get back to the game. Legacy. You feel the memories shifting in your mind around a little bit. Not being overwritten, but being added to. You kind of start remembering your father treating you differently. You never got on. There was always too much willpower in that relationship. But now it's not taking the form of him thinking you were weak and childish. Well, a little bit, and a bit of a nerd and bookish. It comes in the form of him disagreeing with how you see the world and the justice of the world. So you still have a bad relationship, I'm afraid, at this point.
Great.
Unless you want to repair it. But that's a choice that you can make.
No, there's another choice that I'm wanting to change.
All right. Where is it?
I'm 19 now, and I'm training in our garden special training area, and my trainer is a lieutenant in my father's personal guard. Her name is Ruth, and we've been training together for the past 2.5 years, and in that time, feelings have developed on both sides. But I was always hesitant to act on those feelings because of my father and I already have this tenuous relationship. What would it look like if his heir shacked up with a mere lieutenant in his army? And while we're doing this training session,
So you walk in on the scene and it's already different to how you remember. You remember her kind of falling in love with your love of books and such, and these kind of turning into much less of a training session. But now you spar almost as equals. She still has a lot to teach you.
yes,
but you now have your own skills.
Yes, there's more of a dancing quality to the sparring as opposed to teaching. And while this is happening, we're talking. And she's making it very clear that she wants us to leave.
All right.
She wants us to go.
This is get out of here, Legacy.
You know how much I would love to do that, but I have responsibilities here. What if we leave? What if my father finds us? What if he catches us?
We'll leave the chain. We'll go past the chain. There's only so much influence that General Falconer has. There's a whole, well, I wouldn't say world, but there are whole fragments of worlds across the eye.
So this is where the change happens. Because my original choice was to not go with her, because I was too scared of the consequences of that.
So you're gonna come?
Let's do it. Let's go right now. And we pack up our weapons and we...
I'll meet you tonight.
Yes.
Yeah. Midnight by the harbor, Pier 6.
I'll be there. I'll be there and I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Make a perception check.
What is my perception? 12.
12. All right. That night, you arrive with your, you've packed light, just a couple of books of trickery and magic that you've been studying up on, you know, some philosophies on governance and law. As you approach the pier, though, you see that it is empty. You look around, and then out of the shadows, your father steps, with Hyde at his elbow. Abandoning your duties? Running away?
What duties?
I thought you'd cease to be a coward when you'd stopped wetting the bed.
Look, you have Hyde. You don't need me. I have to go and figure out who I am away from you, away from your power and away from your control. And that's what I'm doing, Dad. I'm doing that right now.
You're not running away from your duties. You're not humiliating me. You're not dividing my house. Just as the chain is forged and made powerful by every link, so is our family.
You may have control over every other person in the chain. You may have control over all the powers, but I'm taking control of this.
He steps forward and he grabs you by your shirt and yanks you. I made you as I made the chain, and I will break you rather than lose you.
I'd like to see you try and stop me. I'm going. And you're either gonna have to kill me, or you're gonna have to let me go.
He shoves you away and draws his sword.
I draw mine.
Okay. Roll initiative.
How are we doing that right now?
This is a big change from the old days.
What's initiative plus? What's my roll plus?
Initiative.
Yeah.
So Dex, yeah.
10.
10. Oh, he also rolled 10. If you added your dex already.
Yeah.
Okay, he goes first.
Old man got some skills.
Old man got some skills.
But now, what do I? Because I'm not in my current form. So what do I have? I haven't learned any of my spells.
He slashes up, and it goes just past your face, slicing up through your eye. Blood.
My
splattering.
good eye.
But he seems, for a moment, shocked that he has done this. But he recovers himself and says, "Go back."
And I think back to that moment where Hyde hit my hand. I dropped the sword and I picked up the sword in my left hand. And I've had a series of those moments of being knocked down and getting back up again, which I didn't do previously. And this is one of those moments where, even though my eyes, goop's coming out of my eye, I draw my sword and I stand up as straight as I can and I say, I'm getting onto this boat and I'm leaving. or I'm dying. You get to choose that right now, Dad.
What ensues after this moment is a haze. You remember stabbing your father, you remember him stabbing back, Hyde intervening, slashing you. You had to be eventually dragged from the pier by his guards, having been outnumbered and having realized that Ruth was not there anyway. You found out later that she was in the brig the whole time before being shipped off with a unit far away.
Or you could say that Legacy's dad was ruthless.
Can he lose hit points for that?
But she was in the brig because she
was caught
was caught,
trying to abandon her.
not
her
because she chose to be in there with her troop and was okay.
No.
She wanted to be there.
She was caught deserting, I guess.
Legacy.
Charge.
A door opens in front of you.
I walk through the door.
Oh, like with life, you don't get any control over what happens to you.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole point of this was I was supposed to have the opportunity to and
Yes, but
I walk through the door.
yeah.
I'm
You
talking to
see
myself out loud.
You can't
A
control what happens to
stairway
you.
leading up.
What? I freaking hate this maze. How do I lose her anyway? I do everything differently. I become braver, and I walk up the stairs.
You want to turn back?
You're not Doctor Strange. This is your.
It actually, ironically, looks there. Can I turn back? Can I try again?
You can try again, but you also got to remember that this doesn't change reality. This just changes you.
I walk up the stairs.
Yeah, so I just want to confirm that even if I had chosen to go with Upsh in the beginning, my children would still be born. I would just be the type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm still happier that I'm the type of person that loved. I feel more comfortable being the type of person that would have still sacrificed for my children, but chose to monk earlier, a good 20, 30 years earlier than I did.
Good. All right, Makanda. You have first come to the Lord Orgoth's notice, rising through the ranks of librarians decade after decade, serving your time and serving well, your own passion for knowledge leading you deeper and deeper. You have in your mind as you are doing this, though, an inkling of what is to come. You look at everything with a more suspicious eye, careful for the notices. You look at it not as a loyal follower of Orgoth anymore, but as someone who knows what he will become. It is in this day that you see, in this state, that you are in the Lord's private sanctum. Simply, you have been summoned there with some collections of poetry to present to him, some careful archaeology and some careful bit of trading outside has put you in touch with the networks beyond Ridge Reeds and given you a bit more information and insight into the rest of the world. In this moment, though, Orgoth leaves the room for a moment. He is summoned by something draws his attention, and you are left alone in the inner sanctum of the Lord. In your memory, you know you did nothing. You waited patiently on your knees, the books in front of you. Despite the ache in them and the ache in your back, you kept yourself bowed and humbled before the Lord Orgoth. What do you do this time?
I unbow myself. I assume I know the layout of his inner sanctum. Is there anything sort of valuable there, information-wise, that would be off limits to me?
Yes. Basically, when you move in here, you don't touch anything. Everything is off limits to you. You come, kneel down, and present things before him. Usually there's a kind of plinth with silken curtains behind that that leads to more of the Lord's chambers, you can assume. But you don't know what is beyond.
I begin touching all of his stuff. One by one.
All right, roll an investigation.
Oh, that's not right. 7.
7. Okay. You peek behind the curtain, and it catches on your sleeve. The curtain should not be moved, and somehow you manage to kind of wrap it around your arm, and you panic, you flail a little bit, and you pull it off the rails. It like goes... But it reveals behind the curtain a chamber. On a raised plinth is a stone tomb. Orogoth's tomb. What do you want to do?
A tomb is in like, where he like
A big
sleeps, I
stone
guess.
casket, yeah.
Where he sleeps. I go, I investigate. Is there anything that I can see or that I can learn about the tomb from like sort of looking at it?
All right, all the way around there are kind of small cubbies around. Each of the cubbies holds like a small vial of some dark red liquid. There's probably about 300 or so of these. And you see that there are a number of empty ones down at the, kind of down towards the end, the blood looking fresher inside the vial.
It just looks like blood. There's nothing special about it.
All right, roll Arcana.
Slightly better. That'll be 18.
18.
Come on.
Blood is a component in binding. It is a powerful connection between the soul and the body. If one has blood, one can do all kinds of magics, necromantic magics. These may have been taken from someone or something to bind them to his service.
Interesting. I don't see my blood by any chance here, do I?
No.
Okay, I'd like to take some samples of blood.
What about your
Put it in my tune.
boy?
Particularly, is his blood there?
So this was several years before your son became the consort of Lord Orogoth. So we wouldn't be there if he had bound your son to him at this point.
Okay.
But
No,
with
I'd
that
like-
insight, you do realize that this could well coincide with the consorts. He only ever binds one for a period of 10 years.
I think I'm going to take some blood to study. So I'm going to take a couple of vials. Yeah. And then I'm just going to take one and sort of break it in the corner.
All right, what are you going to do about having made a terrible mess?
I'm gonna summon the lowliest servant, someone who'd be afraid of my rank, perhaps.
He's got to blame it on someone.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna threaten him with sacred flame. Yeah. And he's gonna take the fall from me.
Okay, roll intimidation.
15. 17.
Okay, this trembling young servant. What is your? Oh, it's terribly messy in here. The Lord Orogoth, in his benevolence, will not be pleased.
Oh, he will not be pleased, and you know he's not going to be pleased with you, boy. Sacred flame!
What? Why are
That
you?
was just a warning. That was just.
Why are you doing this?
You are going to tell Lord. Oh, who did this?
It was
Huh?
what?
Flame! Who did this?
It was me.
It was you.
It was me.
Yeah, and you're
It was
going to
me.
convincingly, right?
Yes,
You know what's going to happen?
the sacred flame.
You have the sacred flame. Okay, you stand right there. You tell Lord Orogoth what you did.
and I stay bowed.
Poor Globe. Globe's origin story.
Get me, Globe? Did I do what I said, Globe?
Dang. Poor Globe.
Jeepers.
All right.
My kind of like kills people's parents.
Globe is the BBEG for the next campaign.
No, he's dead already.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Resurrected.
He could be resurrected.
Yeah.
Sometimes Lord Orogoth resurrects people just to kill them again.
Maybe becomes a vampire.
Okay. So we skip over to Iggy. Iggy, the storm comes. Blasts you off course. You were just going to head over to Samat and then get a ferry somewhere else to, other islands of the other islands in the chain of peace. Instead, you spend weeks on this boat, desperate for water. Actually, yeah,
Weeks.
yeah, weeks. That doesn't make any
Iggy's not
sense.
a camel.
Well, maybe it
Yeah.
rains during this.
I don't know. Maybe dwarves can.
Maybe the dinghy had supplies.
I definitely packed snacks.
You definitely packed comic books and
Yeah.
snacks, but they're probably all salty snacks. So pretend I never said weeks. It
Hours.
feels like weeks, but it has been but a few days. You're badly dehydrated, very, very sunburnt, and you've read every comic book several times. Yeah. When you're picked up by a pirate vessel, they take you as a slave for a couple of years. You row the boats, becoming strong and powerful, always plotting of a way to escape. Eventually, this opportunity comes to you, and you are freed during a mutiny aboard the ship. And just then, an elven vessel is passing. They take you on board and they treat you with kindness despite disdain for your dwarfish nature. You, in turn, amuse them with your stories of high adventure and your ability to draw comics. It's pretty good compared to being a slave on a pirate ship. Yeah. How are you going to become more of a wizard?
So Iggy,
A wizard?
Iggy befriends some of the elves, having told them about Moontree, and they think that this is absolutely fascinating that an elf and a dwarf could be best friends, and this is a whole new world for them. And he shows an aptitude for the magic that they're using to steer the ship and to move things and to manipulate the world around them. And
As you tell them about Moontree, you feel a tremble in the maze. The memory sort of ripples a little. And it's also your growing power as a mage and your growing knowledge about how weaves of magic work. But something responds to your memories of Moontree.
do I know that am I aware that I'm in the maze still?
Yeah.
I kind of turn to one of the elves that I know are being manifested by the maze, and I say, "What was that? Do you know Moontree?"
What was what? Yes, you've told us of your friend Moontree, the handsome young elf who accompanied you on your many adventures to the bookstore.
And then, is there anything like? Is there another shimmer? Is there an indication of something?
There's another
fading?
little bit of ripple.
Moontree? Can I tell where it's coming from?
Roll Arcana.
My old Arcana or my current Arcana?
Your current Arcana.
Ooh.
Is this like that? Look in the mirror and say 3 times. Midnight.
26.
26. Dang, kid.
It would have been 23 or it's 26, so either way.
That is arcane.
Yeah.
As you say that, as you ask Moontree and you fix Moontree in your mind, you've come to understand a little bit more about how the maze works. It's a construction of magic that does deal with similar properties to the Books of Might back on the Infinite Library. A fascinating construction, truly wondrous magical engineering, if you will. But everything has a cost, and possibilities can echo. And this moon tree echoes. And as you apply your mind and your concentration, a door opens. What would you want to do?
What's beyond the door?
Darkness.
On the ship, can my avatar, like my Igginess, are the other elves aware of the door?
This feels like, no, they're never aware of the doors, but this also feels different to, this doesn't feel like it takes you to a memory.
That's a wizardness. He opens up his laptop for the spell list.
Yeah, I have to, otherwise I'm not going to remember anything.
I guess modern wizards would carry around a tablet or something.
Yeah.
I cast Detect Thoughts,
Oh.
and I try and detect the thoughts of this space.
Immediately, you are bombarded by echoes, by fragments of voices and things. You hear like one malevolent kind of echo coming from somewhere that sounds a lot like you, to be honest. Can't believe you wouldn't become me. I can't believe you would leave me here. Leave me just an echo, leave me behind, leave me behind. And through the doorway you hear, he's like my best friend, you know?
Can I delve deeper into those thoughts?
Okay.
He has to roll
What
a
is
wisdom
it?
saving throw. DC 16.
You delve deeper into the thought and you kind of feel the entire limit of it. This is a fragment of a mind that has been left behind, cast off like a skin, you know. And that's what all these echoes are. They're all parts of a person that have been shed when the choices that they made have been left behind. A sacrifice, if you will. And this is Moontree's sacrifice left behind.
I walk through the door.
You walk in on Moontree, and you see a second Moontree kind of hovering over the scene. The scene is with you and him talking about Crumix, and Moontree. You don't really know what's significant about this scene, really. It just looks to be like the two of you are hanging out and like doing Crumix. And the ghostly Moontree says, yeah, like, I was thinking about, like, going here, I was thinking like, I could be so much more than all this. And, I could have left. But like, I wanted to stay with you, You were my best friend. But like, I could choose just to like, not have you be my friend and leave everything behind and just like, that's what it takes to become really powerful,
Moontree, where are you now?
I'm like, on Crumb. Dude, that's just, where I'm hanging.
Moontree, you did leave. We just fought you outside the empty maze. You were a real B word. You made me swear. And Yeah, you told me very mean things about me. You told me we're not friends.
No, dude. I'm here. Don't leave Crumb. I just stay here and I become like the next generation of comics artists.
Oh, that would be very cool,
Yeah.
Moontree.
You and me, we like, you write, I illustrate, teamwork.
Yeah, like that Golden Dwayne idea that you had. It was very lekker.
Yeah. But
Oh,
I
you-
think, dude, you can help me pump up the story a little bit because, I don't know. I don't think anyone was really going to buy like a hero that's just like too good,
Yeah, just too golden.
too golden.
He's a bit of tarnish, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's good.
Moontree, can you come with me now?
What do you mean, dude? We just said we're going to stay.
Moontree, I can't stay. You've made your choices, you've made your decisions, and I'm afraid this is not you, Moontree.
What do you mean it's not me?
I want to stay with you, but I think I know what's happening here. And I think I know why my friend wasn't my friend. It wasn't Moontree at the top that we fought, that we had a big fight with, and he made me swear. He left bits of himself here in this place. I think everybody leaves bits of themselves here. Now I need to get out because I need to make the right choices, and I'd love to stay here with you. And I miss you. And it's going to be very difficult telling your ma and pa what happened.
What happened?
Well, Moontree, you became bigger. You became more powerful. But you lost yourself in the maze. You left yourself behind, and here you are, the good bits that you left behind.
Ah. I got tarnished.
Yeah, you were too good.
And he stares down at like the two young Iggy and the young Moontree sitting, illustrating and reading comics and sharing very sugary drinks and chips. He's like, "Oh, I'll just stay here then. This is good."
Yeah, it's a great memory. I'll find a way to free you. I will. I'll come back for you.
I mean, never left. We never left Crumb. We just became, the next generation of comics artists. It's great.
Can I ghost hug him?
Yeah.
I give him a ghost hug.
You ghost hug him and you feel him kind of melting into you. And there's a part of your mind that you feel him kind of like absorbed into. And he says, "Oh wow, it's great in here. You got a lot of comics books in here. How do you remember them all? Wow." All right. A door opens in front of you with a stairway.
I walk up.
Okay. Thrastock.
Okay.
So, I think that covers everything. We are an instrument of Aster.
Yes.
Yes. So, I think this is a divinely inspired conversation.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Now, there is one thing that I think that we are going to have to know in the future. All right. Apparently, and let me get this right. He cocks his head as though he's listening to something. It's like, I'm just trying to remember what you said to me.
In fact, I wrote it down somewhere.
I didn't write it down. Well, yes, that's what
That's what you're doing now. You're,
I'm writing down the thing he's about to tell me.
which he also wrote down. He's you.
It's very consistent.
Ah, yes. One who has not conquered evil within cannot conquer evil anywhere.
One who has not conquered evil within cannot conquer evil anywhere. Interesting. Is there a name attached to this one? Or is this a general rule that we need to keep in mind?
I think this is probably the new Book of Aster.
Okay, that's quite a big deal. Let me write it down very carefully.
The sequel.
It feels like it could go on like a throw cushion.
Yeah.
Live, laugh,
One who
love.
has not conquered
Yeah,
evil
live,
within
laugh,
cannot
conquer
conquer
evil
evil
within.
anywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Now I'm going to head out. You come out. No, wait. All right, let me get this right. So anyway, we are the last to walk through the maze.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to walk, then you smash everything. But we just have to wait for the others to get out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get up my warhammer.
You only have one life to live.
Absolutely.
All right.
Love conquers evil.
What?
No, you just
I'm
made.
just,
You made.
I'm just for Glenda's embroidery
Yeah.
cushions, all these
You
amazing
made
quotes that can
one
be put
who has
around the
not
house.
defeated evil inside cannot defeat evil outside. Whatever.
You have one life to live.
You have one life to live.
One life to... How dare you?
We must slay a Goriel.
Love runs
Slay
this
your
house.
Goriel, yeah.
All right. Glenda, years have passed. You searched for... you've searched following the ruins for the underground... not for the underground library, for the hidden temples. You know how to guide your choices now to the right place. You find yourself standing on the edge of the sea, you know, in the community of the Arakokra, Shalala,
Shalada.
Shalada, yes, Shalada. Shalada. Ah, you have come. Are you the child of the monk?
Yes, I am. My father, the monk who dropped me off at
Yes.
my
Yes.
dwarf village.
And you have returning now to the sea?
I would like to meet my father, yes. I would like to show him that I have improved my monk ways. I have trained with many monk masters, and I feel like I am ready now to meet him.
Well then, we will guide you through the kelp forest.
Is there a way that you can somehow help assist me with breathing under the water?
Oh yes, yeah, of course, yeah, yeah. They cast a little ritual, and you head down. You head through into the temple. You step into the mind trap immediately. But now you know what's happening. You speak, and you bond with Apcha, and you spend.
Who I'm delighted to find out is a woman.
Yeah. And you have a long conversation. You spend actually, in fact, years knowing that you have all this time to reconnect in this kind of memory scape with her and learn her skills from her. And then a door opens and a stairway up. All right,
Bye, Mom.
Makanda. It is years later. You have been keeping track of what Lord Oragoth has been up to. You've learned the secret of the vials of blood, that they are indeed from each of the consorts that he raises each time. But there is one thing you don't know yet. You know that the blood controls the souls somehow, but you do not know how to bring back someone from the pearl. What do you want to do?
Sorry, from the?
Pearl.
From the pearl.
So I imagine that Lord Orgoth has a secret library, no, that no one else can go to, and in my initiation week of being a librarian,
A week.
yeah.
L week.
We were taken on guided tours, and there was always one door that we were told never to go past and know where it is, but I've only walked past it a few times before. So I'm going to wait until Lord Orogoth is off on some important meeting, and I'm going to get into his chambers on some other thing, and I'm going to get into that room.
Yeah. So, with your knowledge of what actually happens, in the past and the future, you're able to know that there is one day that you will have plenty of time, because it is the day that General Falconer's forces attempted to invade Redrees and were pushed back by the Lord personally. You know that he will be engaged in this activity for a whole day at least. You find your way into his inner sanctum. You see the door to the library that he keeps privately. It is locked with some sort of puzzle. How would you like to proceed?
Channel divinity. Like to channel divinity to know how to solve the puzzle.
You have you channel and take on the you channel the knowledge of the master locksmith, an ancient fellow who really pioneered automation and clockwork, and was the only person who could really understand. Immediately, you're like, oh, this is quite simple. You may roll with advantage to pick this lock.
Cool. Oof,
You're gonna need that.
I'm gonna need it.
Oh no.
How much advantage? 3 rolls advantage?
What's the highest thing you got?
4. So what am I adding to 4?
You may just add your intelligence to it.
Cool. Where's
Oh, you may
intelligence?
roll
3,
your intelligence
4,
and
7.
proficiency, because you do have advantage and proficiency. I still haven't given you enough. Can you crack 10?
I've got 7 with so I actually get 10 with proficiency.
Okay, that's not enough.
Oh.
I was not even 10, but this is a complicated lock, so 10 is not good enough.
Good job, Kande.
Yeah, cool. Good job. You feel it click, and as soon as this click happens, that you have set off some kind of an alarm. You understand how this lock works well enough. And you feel a prick on your finger, a drop of blood taken from you by this mechanism. All right,
Interesting.
what do you want to do?
I'd like to summon the lowliest servant into the room, and same thing, bye, whatever. So I get Globe to try and pick the lock again, and his blood also gets taken. Cool. Now I'm going to guiding bolt the door.
Okay.
Don't know if this is going to work. Guiding bolt the door to try and break it down.
Roll an attack, beat a 10.
Cool.
Can you please
Come on now. Can I? What is happening?
You beat a 10.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn it. I just need other dice.
All right, roll damage.
Okay, can I get another dice thing?
Oh, that's the wrong dice. That's the wrong dice. Hold on. Use this one.
This is horrible. Okay.
Is that the damage though?
17
Yeah, that's the damage die.
plus.
No, that's to hit. No, but you got 11 to hit.
Yeah, it already hit.
So you can hit.
You need
How
a-
many? How many?
This is damage though.
No, this is the wrong one for damage.
Oh, is it? Okay.
How many is it D8s or
Good question.
Guiding
What
bolt.
am I doing it for?
guiding bolt?
Guiding bolt. Oh yes. Guiding bolt is 4d6.
46.
So
There's 3 more.
thank you. So 10, 13, 17.
Okay. You blow the lock.
Hey.
You push it open. Globe behind you starts crying.
We're
in so much trouble!
Tears, Globe. Put yourself together. You have a limited amount of time.
What are we working with the blood keepers? Is that what's happening?
We are not doing nothing. You're sitting and being quiet. I'm doing something.
Sitting and being quiet. Right, you step in to the library. You're expecting books of extreme arcane power, just of all kinds. Instead, you see a shelf, shelf upon shelf upon shelf of notebooks, all exactly the same. The only difference, the numbers on the spine. All right. What do you want to do?
Argoth's diary.
I would like to. Can I? I can't channel divinity again.
No. Oh, no, you can channel twice.
Twice. Okay, I'd like to channel divinity a second time to speed read.
To learn the art of speed reading.
Learn the
Okay, are you starting at the top, from the oldest one you can find?
From the very first one.
Volume 1.
Yeah.
Volume 1 is a whole diary of this young mage who's like learning how like to grasp magic, but is really like upset because they keep on calling him like Oro the Meek, Oro the Pathetic, Oro boo 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 boo, Oro the Poo Head, Shitty Face, and all kinds of like really mean insults. He like really he has like a table where he has frequency of all the insults and who's been putting out the insult. It's a real nerd, this poor kid. You can see that this is like a real like horrible life this person had learning at Mage University. You flip ahead. You know, he becomes, he never really like finds his stride, but he is a genius. You know, you can see his like magical terms and his ideas that he's having. Eventually, he's raised to the point of master, but he always talks about like being mocked and teased by others, especially by this one mage who is always kind of his rival in brilliance and genius. A name which you recognize. Flip. What?
Ninja.
Hey?
No?
What is the kid wizard called?
Loeski the Wise.
Loesti.
Yeah.
Loesti the Wise. Often referred to as Loesti the Wisecracker, or Loesti the Wise Guy, who really seemed to be like a dick, you know, and just keeps pace with him. He can never out-rival him, but he also admires like the work that Loesti did. And Loesti's like work on possibility and stuff inspires him to be like, how can I rewrite my own life? And in it, there's the diary of how he came to create the endless maze so that he can walk the path not taken.
Nothing about.
Oh yeah, like, but then like later. So you're spending hours speed reading. All right. You get
Globes sobbing.
Sob just like weeping. He's like fallen asleep in a pool of his own tears. You know, you're very lucky that there's a whole battle going on because there's a lot to get through. You try skimming ahead. You get to the idea of like the pearl and how, you know, after Orogoth became Orogoth, after he walked the maze and left behind part of himself. You know, Orogoth the Meek, and he took all the power that he could to become Lord Orogoth. Vampire. He put his learning to a different use to create the pearl. But you find that that's not really the answer to this, to the riddle. As he's exploring his vampire powers and understanding more of himself, Orogoth reveals that as the vampire, he can bring back and command anyone he raises to be a vampire. As long as he has their blood.
So he can bring people back from the dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as he has their blood.
Yeah.
But
Whose blood did you smash in the
I was going to say, but if he had happened to smash some, if the blood happened to get smashed against the wall,
But no, that wasn't my son's blood. It was just random blood.
I'm going to investigate this.
some poor guy never came
He's
back
gone.
from the dead.
He said so.
You hear a rumbling as the windows blow open and Orogoth arrives in the room.
Am I currently holding texts in my hands?
Behind you, a stairway opens.
his globe. And then I run off.
This is great.
Thrastock, the other you says, seems about time now.
Okay, so the others are out?
Let's do some smashing.
Right. Warhammer smash.
Have the smash rocks now coalesced together again?
No. They were just, kind of.
Okay, cool.
Whatever. Shut up.
I'm just saying, like, it's a
Don't you
weird
have to
time.
walk out and come walk back in again to smash the stuff? Oh,
Yeah. You turn at some point suddenly you turn and you see that the other you is gone,
Oh, it's just me.
and
smash.
then a stair is on the other side. You walk down.
Okay.
Ah, yes, I've been waiting. You guide him through, around, and then while you're all smashing, he's got his back to you, smashing things, and a stairway opens.
I go through.
Nice.
All right. All of you emerge one by one in the garden.
I have the conversation with myself, right? Because I do need to do that.
Yes, you do.
Okay, good.
I'm not going to make you roll memory.
just keep going on forever.
We'll just loop the video for that one. All right. The three of you emerge out. You look at each other. Legacy, a scar tracing down his face, his eye patched.
Looking kind of.
Looking
Solid.
a little bit more lean and jacked.
Right.
Thrastock looking the same. Yeah. Glenda looking tough, buff, and full-lipped, ready to rock. Makanda actually looking a little bit more stressed.
Somehow. How'd you guys do? You do okay?
And then you'll look at Iggy, changed the most. His beard, streaks of white in it now. His eyes behind thick glasses from hours spent reading.
But full-figured and dressed in a manner that is a life well lived. Adventures strewn upon me.
All right, and that's where we're going to end our session.
Hey.
So, hey guys, nice. So thank you to Special Effects Media SA, and thank you to our patrons, our three patrons.
Woo!
Our three patrons, Malcolm, Andrew, and Hung.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And if you also want to support us making silly D&D content and other kinds of content, then check out our Patreon. We got tiers. We got so many tiers. We got links. We got stuff. We got mugs. We got t-shirts.
What?
We got
We get t-shirts?
we got t-shirts.
We got t-shirts. We got
model.
joggers.
We don't have t-shirts. You can get t-shirts.
You can
Yeah,
get
even I didn't get a
t-shirts.
t-shirt,
That's right.
yeah.
You can get t-shirts too. Anyway, we'll do a proper Patreon advert at some time. Anyway, so that was a real roleplay heavy episode. Thank you, everyone.
Went in.
Thank you. DM.
Thank you, dear.
Thanks, DM.
Thanks, DM.
Overlord.
Yeah, and thank you.